We are live. Welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lounge live edition as we've been doing it this time of year and probably just kind of moving forward. I think that's just going to be the policy. It means I don't have to post the video separately and I am lazy. So today's show is a fun one. It's a special one. This is somebody I've been looking forward to talking to here for a little bit. He is brand new to the Lakers beat, brand new to Lakers fans, brand new to this show. Khobi Price of the Southern California News Group. Thank you very much for joining us.
Appreciate you having me on, Anthony. I really do appreciate it. How you doing?
You know, we're at that time of year where you really kind of scrounge together topics and stuff. This is usually vacation time. That was like the general sentiment when I was running into beat reporters there in Vegas was like, yeah, we can't wait to get back and take like a week off. So that is generally what we're going to be talking about here. The Lakers do have some work to wrap up, and we'll get to that later. But I'm really kind of interested to your approach here to the beat. This is you were brand new. You covered the draft while you were still covering the Orlando Magic. And you come here and your introduction is Summer League and free agency and all of that goodness. So I just kind of want to, we'll start with like your initial impression of the beat and Lakers fans so far.
Yeah, I mean, the initial impressions has been what I think 2.5 weeks now, maybe like
Yeah.
getting closer to 3 weeks at this point. All the impressions have been good. You know, I've met some people inside the organization, outside the organization, other media, a few fans here and there. Like everybody's been pretty good. You know, through the first 2.5 weeks, the
Hmm.
great like we call it like the honeymoon period.
Yeah. So you
So
haven't met Harrison. So that's good. It's
I
good to
have
know.
not. I have not met Harrison. I'm gonna say I'm excited and looking forward to meet Harrison whenever that does happen. Harrison, if you're listening to this, do not let Anthony think that I don't want to meet you. I very much do. Been following me for a minute,
Yeah.
but no, it's been smooth and good so far.
Yeah. It's interesting. The beat has mostly turned over from like in the time that I've been covering the team. There's some guys who've been on it basically this whole time, but for the most part, it's like completely different. And it's in kind of a cool spot where I thought initially there was some uh, friction, I would say, between beat reporters and bloggers and podcasters and stuff like that. But over the years, as everybody's just kind of like accepted that the two sides aren't going anywhere, I think everything is in kind of a cool spot. And we arrive at a time where, like over the weekend, you bump into Wojcicki, you bump into Jovan, you bump into whoever else it is that is on the beat, or you do shows with them over the years, and it's just everybody's just kind of accepting that there are different roles and how all of this can work, and there's no need to step on toes or anything like that. And it's been fun to kind of watch that take place. What are your expectations though, like covering this team? The last time I spoke to Kyle, who held this position before you, he was saying that like finding that niche was his kind of first priority. Is there anything that you are hoping to accomplish specifically here?
I think for me, it's just providing the most comprehensive coverage of the Lakers. Uh, and yeah, if there's like in terms of niche, there's some areas that I think I can excel at compared to others. But I'll let readers and audience determine that, I
Yeah.
guess, for themselves to be like, oh, I like this the most from him, or I feel this way about what he does when he does this. Like I'll let other people decide that. But I know I kind of have an idea of what I want to do. Like I'm very much, and if you follow me when I cover the Magic, I'm very much into like the on-court happenings.
Yeah.
Uh, just like sometimes like the smallest details that you sometimes like some people be like think like that does not matter, but to me it matters. And
Yeah.
some things that get overlooked in terms of explaining why X didn't work or why Z didn't work.
Hmm.
Just those kinds of things are things that I'm interested in. Whether it'll be what people like the most, that's what we'll see, I guess, in the coming months or coming, time will tell. But yeah, that's I guess in terms of like carving out initial things I'm interested in. Yeah, that's definitely there, especially with a team that they're looking to contend. They're looking to be better than they were last year. They're looking to go further than the Western Conference Finals. So all right, you say this, you tell us these things. Now it's time to see what you put out there to accomplish that goal or not accomplish that goal.
Do you think sharing a name with Khobi will be a benefit or set the bar a little too high for yourself on this
So,
beat?
so that's been brought up to me like I don't know how many times,
Probably
and
37 or so, like I would imagine.
more than that actually. uh, I hope it helps. Like, so I was talking with my dad about this because I know that, like, obviously my name is spelled differently than Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
as people can see on the screen.
When you like shoot paper like into a trash can, do you make sure to like you say Kobe with an H and then let the follow through go or
So I was never that kid because I felt like I would come off as too conceited if I'm gonna let my like if it's I know it's not after my name. However, it's gonna sounds the same. So
yeah
I sound like I'm so full of myself. I go Kobe, just like no, like,
yeah
I'll do something else, or I just won't say anything at all. It's
yeah
just there's too much. There's too much for me to lose, and not enough for me to gain. Especially if I miss. If I miss, then it's
yeah
really just yeah.
yeah
But
you
it's
do like
been
the Gilbert Arenas like Ichiban or whatever you used to call it like
hibachi.
yeah hibachi there you go yeah
Yeah, shout out Gil. I was in
yeah
Vegas for a few days, but I didn't run into him. Shout out Gil. Shout out to
hmm
that interview he did with Zion too.
yeah
That was dope. But yeah, I guess it's helped so far just because people are like, oh yeah, Kobe's cover. Yeah, but
it's an icebreaker
yeah, it's an icebreaker. And then people have asked like, were you named after him? I tell them no, I wasn't. Like I had to ask I knew the story how I got my name or why my parents gave me my name, but I had to be like, hey, since I got out here, like I've been asked so many more times in the past 3 weeks compared to the past however many years of my life. Like, what's the story again? So they
yeah
explained it to me. It has nothing remotely to do with Kobe Bryant or anything like that. If that hurts people's feelings or if that lets them down, I'm sorry, but I gotta be honest. If it was, then my name would not be spelled the way it is.
yeah yeah it's I think one of your colleagues actually wrote about the influx of players named Kobe this year. I think that was I don't
Tim
think it was
Reynolds from
Miriam.
AP.
I think that was what's that?
Was it Tim Reynolds from AP?
Was it Tim? I maybe it was just that Miriam shared the story and I didn't see who actually wrote it or whatever. But yeah, it is interesting now. Like I was joking with Harrison, like I feel ancient that now like it's that there are now Kobe's in the and the Lakers almost drafted one. It's now been reported pretty well that the Lakers had their sights on Kobe Buffkin and really like were kind of disappointed that they weren't able to select him. They walked away with Shafino, who they're pretty excited about. But yeah, I was ready to report when if he would have slipped there that like yeah that was going to be their pick and which is just perfect. Rob Pelinka selecting a Kobe. It's just I would imagine that that's a good icebreaker for you and him. But yeah, let's talk about this team though and your initial thoughts on it. Because the beat has been kind of what it's been now for a few years, and because it's so easy to just kind of isolate yourself with this team and with this world that, this little chunk of the world that we're in. I'm always kind of curious how kind of outsiders or people who are looking at it from the outside looking in or are new to all of this see this team. What do you think the Lakers are capable of this year?
I mean, I definitely think they're capable of making it back to the playoffs. Just straight up, they should be a
Yeah.
playoff team next year. Especially, I know health is the main thing, but sometimes it feels kind of like somber or just redundant to be like, or reductive rather, to be like, oh yeah, if they're healthy. Well, like you said, for 99% of the teams in the league.
Yeah.
So to me, they're a playoff team. Uh, Whether they get back to the conference finals, like I don't think that's not a foregone conclusion. Just because I like their free agency. Bringing back continuity. I think we're seeing that it matters more than probably in previous years that we felt it did.
Yeah.
You look at the teams who make it the furthest, or win the championship or make it further. It's usually teams who have been together or at least the core's been together for 2-3+ years.
Yeah.
So allowing the team to go through a full training camp as constructed, and being able to start a season. Hopefully, you don't start off whatever they were 2-10 to start
Yeah.
last year or 0-5 to start. You get that together. Maybe you can have a better, you don't have to go into the play-in. You can actually just be a straight-up playoff team from the get-go. Compared to the rest of the West, I would have a hard time calling them the favorites, even the second favorites. Like Denver, to me, I know they lost Bruce Brown. That was a big contributor. He was a big contributor. Even Jeff Green, to a lesser extent, who played a bigger role on the team than I think most people kind of assume. Like, I think we look at Denver and people are like, oh, they were such a deep team. Not really.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just their top 6 guys were just so good. It felt deeper than they were. But like after Bruce Brown off the bench, like it was like Jeff Green and Christian Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was one more guy who I'm slipping. But yeah, Jeff Green was very much in the playoff rotation. So like you lose 2 of your main playoff contributors, it hurts. However, you still return your starting lineup, and you get maybe another year of development at Christian Brown. You feel like that team should be at the top, and you have Jokic and Murray who are up there. After that, like it feels open. Like Phoenix, theoretically, they should be number 2. They could also be number 6. Like there's so much volatility there.
Yeah,
I feel like what the Lakers did though, they provided a better baseline. I guess of just competency or just being good compared to Phoenix. So maybe you feel like, well, if Phoenix hits all the right notes, they're above LA. But the Lakers have a decent baseline of, all right, we should be high level defense.
Mm-hmm.
We have LeBron and AD, and then better shooting, hopefully better spacing to get the offense going. So kind of in that. They're in this big chunk with like the Lakers, the Warriors, the Clippers, like Grizzlies, who I'm not saying they're better or worse, but they're just like there's so much in that, I like that 2 to 5, 2 to 6 range.
Yeah, I think
like they're in, or 3 to 6 range rather.
I think that you mentioned continuity, and another word for it is culture, right? And identity. And when there is as much clumping as you're talking about as there is in the West, and just generally in the league, because like. I mean, I guess we have to see if Dame goes to Miami and who goes back, and we have to wait and see what Philly gets for Harden, or if they wind up keeping Harden. We're still waiting to see if Boston is going to extend Jaylen Brown, which is a super weird situation there. But like generally speaking, there isn't like a great team. I think Denver is the best team, but I don't think there's some buzzsaw that nobody has a chance against. And when that is the case, when there's, I think, this much parity, or I call it mediocrity, like you can, that's when the continuity stuff matters. That's when the culture stuff matters. That's when identity matters. And I think if the Lakers can kind of if they can add to what they did in the playoffs last year and maintain that identity there moving forward, and then maybe make some tweaks over the course of the year, I'd be surprised if D'Angelo Russell finishes the season with the Lakers. I think they're like you're talking about. They're right there, and it's going to be interesting to see like how okay they are with being right there, or if they're going to be looking to really kind of make a swing and jump up a spot or two. But yeah, it's going to be it's really interesting to watch. With covering this team though, and being new to it, a completely different conference too. By the way, like this has to be like Have you ever had that like SpongeBob meme moment where everything just appears to be like spinning around you? Like it's just so much that you like, hold on, I have to like, it's not like you're talking about, you're listing Western Conference teams, and yeah, you have the Nuggets up here, but then you're like, well, yeah, but the Grizzlies, and then OKC might do some stuff. Like, have you had a chance to just kind of like settle yourself down and really kind of study a completely different conference than you were working in the last few years?
Not yet, to be completely honest. It's still very much just like what's my man's name? Dang, I'm so sorry I'm blanking on his name right now. He wrote earlier today before we hopped on, I was just reading Keith Smith. There we go. He's doing his notebooks from Summer League, and he dropped yesterday. He dropped like a league one, a league general one. Then today he dropped Eastern Conference one. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, I was like, wait a second, I need a Western Conference one now.
Yeah.
I mean, so when I was covering the Magic, like I paid attention to as much as I could, like not just in the East, but throughout the entire league, because I think that they're generally
That's the
is a
picture.
yeah. Like if you're covering the team, I need to know. Like, I need to know what's going on everywhere. Just because like that's like to cover a team, I need to feel like I need to know the full scope of the league because that
Yeah.
can inform everything else. Uh, yeah, that can just inform everything else. But yeah, now I need to know the West a little bit more intimately, and it helps that summer league. At least I'm no longer in Vegas. Summer league will be over in whatever 48 to 72 hours. My
Yeah.
math's probably off right there, but somewhere in that range. So at that point, I'll be like, all right, let me decompress mentally. Like, let me flush some things out. Let me just take a minute, and then I'll get back to studying. It's like, all right, let's look at all the. And at that point, there'll be better. I mean, I hope maybe there'll be better clarity on what exactly
The
the
league's
other
gonna look
teams
like.
around the league. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're talking about like Portland, I'm not really factoring in Portland from a contention standpoint, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But more so like how that could change the landscape of the East, or even like let's say Portland says, forget Miami. Like we'd rather trade in conference rather than go to Miami. So, and then same with Harden. Like if Harden gets his wish and goes to the Clippers, well then that changes the landscape of the West. So
Yeah.
hopefully like those moves will be made sooner rather than later, just from my standpoint of just studying other teams. But I know the league doesn't really care about how I feel about things. So, or my studying of the rest of the conference.
Is there a story in particular that brought you to the Lakers beat specifically? Like for example, again, and I'm sorry to continue to bring up Kyle here, but like he said, he came over and his thought was, I'm just going to cover LeBron. Like LeBron choosing to go to the Lakers after the Lakers had been stuck in the mud for 7 years was really interesting to him, and he was just really interested to see how LeBron would kind of shape the situation around him. Is there anything like that like drew your attention to the Lakers, or is it just another like? Does it just like follow the path of like really good Orlando people making their way to the Lakers eventually?
I guess if I have to choose between those two options, probably the latter. I mean, I won't I won't say there's not like one thing specifically. I was like, oh yeah, I want to cover this for sure. Like people brought it up to me like, oh yeah, you'll cover like the last year or two or whatever of LeBron. Like, yeah, that's gonna be great. Like it's gonna be great for me to learn. I think it might have been Kyle who said like I'll be able to cover, be on an NBA beat at the highest level in terms of like what we do from a beat reporter, NBA beat reporter side. So that's appealing as well. But there's not one specific like, oh, I came here to cover this, or I came here with the hopes of like chronicling this. I
Yeah.
think for me it's like all of it. Like it would be great to cover, it'll be great to cover LeBron and however many years he has left with the Lakers. It'll be great to like I said, chronicle at the highest level of NBA beat reporting, or at least the team at the highest level of what this business offers. Um, and then I guess like the progression, like I want to know how it feel. Like I go back to the highest level of things. Like what does it feel like? What is it like to do things at a and when I mean level, I don't mean like Lakers better than Magic in terms of team or in terms of organization, like that kind
Attention.
of thing. Yeah, like media attention in term or just the daily grind of it. And I know some people be like, you want that to an extent. Like, yeah, I want to experience it. Like opportunities like this they don't happen. Like they don't
Mm-hmm.
always. You don't. I was just talking about this. I think this was ironically early this year, like February. Like jobs like these don't pop up regularly or often.
Yeah.
So when they do, like I want to go for it. I want to experience it. And then we'll see where it goes from there. But there wasn't really one thing. It was more so like a totality of I want to do this. I want to do the best I can, and I want to experience something that I haven't before.
Yeah. The correct answer there was to watch Max Christie's trajectory from second round player to great Hall of Fame here moving forward. But no,
So you mean the
I
All-Star trajectory?
yeah, I'm all in on Max. I was walking around summer league just telling anybody who would listen that I'm all in on Max Christie, and I'm not like you're new to this. I'm generally like the town critic. I'm Stuart Little to a certain extent. So like seeing people or like people seeing me excited about something either means that he might actually be pretty good, or it's damning him to like really bad stuff. So we'll kind of see. But um, summer league though is an interesting experience for especially somebody new to the beat because people tend to overlook the fact that Vegas is actually like a huge Lakers town. It's like it's a big deal there for you see you obviously the weird collection of jerseys and stuff from throughout the league because so many nerds just kind of descend upon Vegas that time of year. But it is a lot of Lakers fans and a lot like that they always get the evening game at Thomas and Mack, and I don't think they've ever played a game in the small side gym that I've ever watched them, even when they didn't have good summer league teams. What was the summer league experience like for you?
It was great, and kind of to your point, even with Maxwell Lewis being on the team, I'm not sure how well this came across on the broadcast for people watching at home. But when he was making plays, especially that first game, like he had, I asked him about this too. I was like, was that family and friends in that section, kind of towards like, I guess behind the camera's like, no, that was just all family, that was all blood. I was like, Lord, that was a lot of people. Like he had a big show out, and then I remember after another game in the, I guess you want to say like the hallway of the arena. Like he had all his people come around him and they were having him up and just showing him love. So not just the
it's
Lakers
like
part.
Pseudo hometown kid because Pepperdine isn't quite LA, but it's like close enough.
Yeah, but he's from Vegas.
So that
Maxwell
also
Lewis
helps. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's from out there. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was great to see. But yeah, it was seeing that like it's come across on TV in previous years like, oh yeah, a bunch of Lakers fans will come out to Vegas, but yeah, it was more than I thought. Especially like they're playing the last game, everybody's tired, and there's still Lakers fans just coming on out for those games. But the summer league experience was great. It was my second time doing it, first one on this beat, so it was like a reintroduction of like, hey, like I switch beats, what's going on, so yada yada yada. So from that standpoint, it was just different. Obviously, like staying for those later games. Like last year, I covered two games. The first game was like the first game of the entire, because they did it differently this year compared to last year. Last year they did the two games on the Thursday, then they did their normal schedule. This year was the normal schedule. So last year I covered like earlier games. This time, well, I guess it was the same. Wow. Anyway, I guess it actually was the same because they played a 1 p.m. game on Sunday, I want to say.
Yeah.
But it was different. I guess like in terms of people just recognizing you differently in a weird way. Like people say they're like, don't let the being in LA or being in the Lakers be changed. I'm like, I'm not, but y'all treated me differently more than anything else. Like that's actually the most ironic part. So
I thought it was weird that you were like carried on in like a raised chair. I thought that was an interesting move for your first game. It was, do you though, I guess.
Relax. But no, it was good. It was good just being able to see people again. People, some people you see throughout the season, some people you only really see during summer league. So periodically just checking in with people, seeing how things go.
Mm-hmm.
Just start rebuilding relationships or build new relationships with people. That's always like a benefit of being there.
Yeah. So I mentioned it earlier, but obviously Shaq and then Dwight, now you. So what number do you think Paolo's going to wear on the Lakers? Like,
you're going to get me in trouble. You're going to get me in trouble. And you tweeted this out. I'm sure you tweeted this out when I announced that I was coming here.
Yeah.
No comment. No comment. No comment.
Lakers were trying for Sharon Tross for years.
Oh my gosh. You forgot Mo Bamba, so that was disrespect right there.
Well, I may not have forgotten him.
Oh man.
He's not quite like. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm making no comment for two reasons. One, you're gonna get me in trouble with people in Orlando. Two, I need to remind myself what numbers are even retired by this team again. So let's.
Yeah. Also, the difference is like Shaq. Well, I guess Dwight was traded for, and then eventually re-signed. After leaving and stuff. So eventually, it was like a free will thing with Dwight too. But Shaq like chose LA. Dwight eventually kind of sort of chose LA after leaving. Bamba was traded for, so it's not quite the same. So we'll kind of see. We'll see which path Paolo takes to the Lakers whenever he does. Khobi, this has been a blast. I do have one last thing to get you out of here on. As you know, just as everybody is trying to like kind of decompress, but the Lakers do still have some like stuff to do here, right? Like we're still trying to see which center that they're potentially going to sign. We still have to see if they are going to use their 15th roster spot or not. If they are going to start the season under the luxury tax and all of that stuff. Is there anything that you see as like a glaring hole that the Lakers need to address to wrap up their offseason? Or do you think, outside of like actually legally needing to add a 14th player, if this is the roster that they need to do, is there anything that you definitely think that they need to address at the beginning of the season or at the deadline or anything like that?
Yeah, I do think, especially with Rob Pelinka just straight up saying that they're going to be playing more two big lineups with Anthony Davis, like, I do think they need to add another big man, add another center. Like that's just like if you're going to say that we're going to play more two big lineups, but your two bigs are Jackson Hayes, Anthony Davis, well, you're kind of telling us what those lineups are going to look like from day one. And I'm not sure how much. I mean, I think they can play together, but I think they're at least in terms of. Like the league looks a little different in 2023, 2024 than it did in 2019, 2020. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing. Outside of that, I mean, I look up and down the roster and the depth chart, there aren't really too many like holes or spots. Like unless you want to get into like the nitty gritty, like, oh, I wish their third string at whatever. Shooting guard. Yeah. At shooting guard was a little tired, but it's like, okay, but how, if you're a contending team, like how often is that going to kind of come in? And then this lineup, especially with the Lakers, like the lineup, the depth chart is going to be so fluid because you do have LeBron who kind of changes the dimensions on the court a little bit. And then there's I wrote about this, like, and I should have included Max Christie in this too, but between D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Gabe Vincent, even Max Christie, like all four of those guys can play next to one another in theory, especially if LeBron's on the floor. Yeah. So it doesn't, like, the backcourt I'm not as much concerned about. It's definitely more so like who's your other big, and how do you kind of play things out from there. But other than that, like, they seem pretty just solid in terms of the guys that they re-signed, the guys they brought in. So now it's just about, all right, let's get out there and let's see how the depth chart winds up actually looking, post training camp going into the season. Like, who are the backups? Are the backups who we think they are from day one, or is there a little bit more fluidity in terms of who starts versus who comes off the bench or who's going to be in the rotation?
So you aren't interested in breaking the Christian Wood news here? Then you don't want to.
I'm good right now, but I can assure you, when that day comes, you'll hear it.
Yeah, I think that's wind up where they're going here. We'll kind of see what they're. Rob has mentioned that they don't want too much duplication, I guess. At like, they have Jackson Hayes, right, and they want somebody who can also space the floor. And there aren't very many floor spacing bigs left, unless you're counting like Markieff Morris or something like that. But we'll see what they do, and we'll see what you do here on the beat as well. Very excited to have you on. Congratulations on the gig.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed your work. At previewing future Laker Paolo Banchero when you were over there. And I'm looking forward to what you bring to this beat. I'm really excited to have somebody who focuses on the X's and O's. That's going to be really. I think that's a good way to approach this. That'll be cool to watch.
Well, first off, you're messy, and
I just try to slide stuff in there, and
people who are, if you follow me from Orlando and you're watching this, remember, all those Paulo words came from Anthony, not Khobi. I had nothing I did not tell him to say this. I have nothing to do with this.
Do you have anything to plug before we get you out of here? Like anything specific? You mentioned the piece briefly. Is there anything specific you want to plug?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just wrote about, we talked with Gabe Vincent while in Las Vegas during Summer League, just as kind of like his introduction to us. So I wrote that yesterday or Thursday, whatever days are days. Wrote that yesterday. Just came out, so definitely take a look at that. Other plugs, just follow me on Twitter, KHOBI_Price. So my name, Khobi_Price on Twitter.
Mhm.
I am on Threads. Khobi Price is right. I can plug so many other social medias that I created in that like 3-day window where we thought Twitter was going to go to
We thought it was
fire.
going away.
But
Yeah.
you can find me on Blue Sky or Sky Blue, whatever it is. You can find me on a bunch of other stuff. But those are really the main places you'll find me, at least in terms of social media, Twitter and Threads. Southern California News Group. You can find my work there. OC Register, LA Daily News. But yeah, I'm excited. I really am excited to get started. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited to decompress a little bit, flush some things
take
out,
your
and
time.
then get back started. Like I'm gonna rewatch some things, get refamiliar with the Western Conference, and then obviously with the team itself. And we'll see how this roster shakes out ahead of training camp. I think training camp also is going to be starting. I could be wrong, but for teams who don't have an international preseason game, I think they're going to be starting like in early October this year.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't. The thing with the Lakers is they always have they have their official training camp, but then there's also the LeBron training camp that you have to
Oh
kind of pay
yeah.
attention to. That's a week or two before, and like the thing with like the LeBron one last year was that was where Austin Reeves really showed out. So they wound up converting Austin Reeves based off of that LeBron training camp before they even got to theirs. It's just yeah, there's some idiosyncrasies here that are Lakers specific that I can't wait to watch you experience. I'm going to live vicariously through you in some regard here because, yeah, we've been doing this now for way too long. And a lot of this stuff just becomes kind of, comes second nature where, certain things that we find perfectly normal, like, hold on, what? Like, that's just a thing? Like, you have to know that the Lakers are going to use their exception on a clutch guy? Like that's just like something that you definitely have to know. Yeah, that is the Lakers beat. You welcome to it, Khobi. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
hopping on and enjoy your decompression. We'll talk to you again as we get closer to the season.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.